All right. Can you hear me out there? If there's anyone there, there may not be, and that's okay. This is the first one of these I've ever done, so it's private. Only my members have access. And right now, guys, there aren't that many. But the first thing I want to say is make sure you drink out of the correct water cup. Not this one. Drink out of this one. That was the right one. I think I need to check my audio settings real quick. I feel like something's up here, so let's take a look. Looks like it's working. If anybody shows up, let me know if the audio is coming through okay. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. If you get a question, ask me anything you want to. If I don't want to answer it, I won't answer it, and I'll let you know. But ask me anything you want to. Talk about what you want to talk about. I'm going to be working on painting this Displacer beast tonight. We're going to spend about an hour together. I have these 3 here because I'm actually working on these for a customer. And these are 2 of 5 that he's ordered. These are actually the other 2. So we've got an owlbear. I was pretty happy with it. I wasn't too sure about the way that it looked at first, but I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. This drow with the crossbows, I thought she was pretty cool. She came out good. But I've also got this Hell Knight guy and a halfling that I'm putting together for this customer. So, and of course the Displacer beast. And I thought I might actually be able to finish the Displacer beast in the time that I have. So move these out of the way. All right, looks like audio is working okay. So I'm gonna go ahead now. Normally I would have this many on a base and I would be painting it, not holding onto it directly, but this customer didn't want bases. He's going to put these minis in a diorama. I'm actually partway through doing a whole set of 20 of these guys for him. Oh shoot! Oh, here we go. Now, one of the reasons you're not going to be seeing my face tonight is because I got to wear one of these things because I'm kind of blind, you guys. So you can just imagine that if you want to. Well, here we go. So, like I said, if you have a question, something you want to talk about, pop it in the chat. We're just hanging out. We're painting tonight. Hey, if you're painting something, let me know. Drop in the comments what you're doing. So, the first thing that I'm going to do is I've got a little bit of white paint in my wet palette here. I need to thin it out a little bit more. Okay. trying to make sure I've got just a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the Displacer Beast's eyes. And I'm doing this first because, yeah, I can always go. Basically, this is what I do. I just splatter a bunch of paint on his eyes, get them good and white, and if I go over the edge where I want to go, that's fine. It's all good. And I'm toying with the idea of adding some purple to his eyes as well. But one of the things I do like to do when I paint people, so like when I paint that halfling that I showed you a moment ago, when I paint this guy, his eyes are really tiny, but I'll try to give him pupils, so of whites and pupils, which basically just means a little black dot in the middle. But then when I do an animal, I'll do this. So like the owlbear, to me the owlbear is not it's a monster, but it's not it's not like an aberration. It's not anything weird. It's more of an animal. So this, however, is a creature with powers. So I kind of classify in my head more as monster. So I don't usually give them pupils. I feel like just having their eyes have whites only kind of creates a little bit of a jarring effect, a little bit of a disturbing look for them. So I think, try this again. Add a little bit more. I got a spot right here that's not white enough. So, all right. So, okay. So this is, by the way, this is one of my favorite brushes. It's a nice brush. It's a Winsor & Newton Series 7, so it's Kolinsky Sable. This is a number 2. Check this out, guys. There are no standards in paintbrush sizes. This is also a number 2. So this is my other favorite brush, though. This also is Kolinsky Sable Rhapsody, but this one's great for wet blending, things like that, because it's got a nice big fat belly, kind of like me. All right, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do some black and at least work around his eyes. I can't decide. I primed him black, and it's a pretty good prime job. So I can't decide if I want to actually paint him black or not. It's always kind of annoying, right? Like I primed him black, and now I can't see where the paint is that I just put on because it's the same color as the prime. I am noticing these are 3D printed, and I was just noticing a couple of spots where some supports could have been removed a little more. And this, yes, will scrape off a little bit of the paint, but that's okay. I can always touch it up. And no, it won't stick to the resin as well without the prime coat on those little spots, but it's going to be fine because I will be careful with it, and then I'll spray a coat of sealant on it, so it'll seal it up nice, and you won't have to worry about it. The paint won't rub off or anything once you seal it. So okay, got a couple of little nubs underneath there, but maybe we'll just pretend she's female. Okay. All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and do some black. So I like Vallejo paints. I know there's a lot going on with Vallejo right now. I've had these paints forever, tons of them. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, there's like a strike that was just resolved at Vallejo in Spain. But I really do like their paints for miniatures. And I do like using a wet palette because I'm pretty slow actually. I feel like I'm a decent miniature painter, but I'm pretty slow. And so even like this guy, I might be able to finish in a timely fashion. Let's see some more places I need to trim, but I might finish this guy in a timely fashion. But there are, more detailed minis. One of the reasons I'm doing this one and not one of these other ones is because I think I might get a little further along with this one than the others. But it'll take me a long time. Yeah, I definitely need to paint this. I can see where the primer's a little thinner. But it'll take me a great deal more time to paint, say, that Hell Knight or that Halfling than it would this guy. I mean, he's pretty much all black. I mean, I'll do some dry brushing, different things like that, to kind of add some highlights and variation of color, but he's pretty much just black. So I'm going to start. Actually, I think I'm going to put my palette. Sometimes I have a hard time deciding where to put my palette, so I'm going to put it on the other side because I'm left-handed and I'm worried that I'm gonna dump it over, flip it over or something. But I like using a wet palette. I know people kind of go back and forth about it, but I like it because for the very fact that it takes me so long that I can't always finish what I'm doing in one sitting. So it preserves your paint for a few days. And I really like this one. This is a Masterson's Stay Wet palette. And I really like the size. It's a little bit harder to store. I also have shoot, I just messed that up. I knew that was going to happen. I have an Army Painter palette too. It's a good deal smaller than this, and yeah, this is always the hard part, man, getting these eyes right. But anyway, that Army Painter palette is a good deal smaller. I don't like it. I feel like sometimes I use so many different colors on some of my minis, and I like to do that, and it's hard to keep because it's smaller. There's not enough room for all those colors. Okay, we're gonna have to come back and try that again. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse that out. And move on to another brush. I'm gonna get out the big brush because I'm gonna go ahead and start coating this guy a little more. I'm just gonna go ahead and put a good coat of black all over him. And for those of you who maybe aren't as experienced painters, it's always my process. Really, my process is I don't plan a whole lot. I sit down and I go, okay, what colors do I need for this? And I may or may not think about that for a long time. Depends on the miniature. I mean, like this guy, I didn't need to think too long about that. I want him to be black and kind of, have those purple highlights and that kind of thing. Maybe gray. I'm still thinking, honestly, about what kind of highlights I want to do on his body. Like, do I want to do purple to accentuate the purple of his his glowing tentacles or whatever? Or do I want to go with blue highlights? Or do I want to just go with gray highlights? I have a brush in my mouth, that's why I sound like that. Or do I want to just go with gray highlights so that I can just to allow the other color things, the brighter colors, to stand out on this, on the background of his body. So you still see the highlights and you still see the definition, because this guy has a lot of definition in his musculature, which is cool. And like you can see sort of the wrinkling of the, like along his tentacles and things where they bend, and that's cool. And I want to capture all of that. And so I can't decide if I can't decide what color highlights I want to do for that, but that will probably mostly be done through dry brushing. Man, and I apologize if periodically I removed him from view. That's not on purpose. It's just that the way I have to set my camera up right now, it really needs to be further out this way so that I can hold the mini closer to myself when I'm painting it, but it'll be all right. And this is why, like, I already can't tell where I've painted and where I haven't. I'm not really going to worry too much about his feet because, like I said, I mean, if I were doing this for me, I'd have him on his base, and his base is pretty cool. He's standing up on a big rock. Like, it's pretty neat. There's a lot of detail in his base too. But this particular one is going to a customer who wants to put him on a diorama, so there's no reason at all to worry about the bottoms of his feet. And hey, you know, I don't do a whole lot of this stuff for pay. And this guy, essentially, he ordered, I used to have a shop, you know, recently. Actually, my shop is still on Etsy. And you can still order minis and stuff like that there, but I used to do, that was part of the Short Studios business, was doing 3D printed minis and a bunch of other tabletop game accessories. I used to travel to conventions, usually just here in the DFW, North Texas area. I tried not to travel too much because it makes it even more expensive to do them. But I came to a point where I decided this is not the thing that I wanted to do. What I want to do is create. And, you know, so I decided to pull back on that part of the business. I'm actually trying to shut it down. I'm trying to get rid of inventory at this point. So but this customer a while back ordered a wizard miniature, wanted me to paint it for him, and you know, I had painting on my price list, but it was, I specifically priced it to discourage people from ordering painted minis from me, because I knew it would take, it takes me so long that I couldn't charge anybody enough money. Like, my painting is not good enough for me to charge you enough money to make up for the time that it takes me to do this. So, but this guy asked me, I gave him a price, and he went for it, and he loved it. And so I got a subsequent request to do 20 miniatures And so I'm doing those in batches of 5 for him now. I've kind of been pretty delayed on this one with the holidays and everything. I should have finished these ages ago. But I'm finishing them up for him now, and you, if there's anybody out there, you get to watch me do it. And hey, if there's not anybody out there, that's okay. This is the first time. Part of the point of doing this is, I want to spend time with the people who support my channel, and part of the reason for doing this now, for doing this particular one tonight, even though maybe there aren't that many supporters out there, is so that people see that I'm doing stuff, that I am actually doing the things that I want, doing things to spend that time with my supporters. And so maybe, hey, come and join us. So I'm probably going to need to let this sit for just a minute, because yeah, I'm definitely glad I painted that instead of just leaving it primed. I don't know if I trust holding him by his head yet. I think I'll have to, because otherwise I'm going to have to sit here and wait for the rest of it to... I have to hold him a different way, because I've got to hit this right here. Gotta get these back legs, because I didn't get those, because that's where it was holding him. I think I'm going to do bone white for his claws, mainly because they'll stand out more. Actually, one thing I'm going to do is try to... I still got some parts of this guy I just didn't do a very good job of cleaning off these supports. .3D printing is a nice hobby, especially if you've got things you're actually going to use it for. The primary use that I've put it to is minis, but I also have, there's some more I need to do. I also have some cool accessories, dice towers, and stuff like that I've done that are fun. I have some cool little dice vaults. Actually, if Emily's out there, Emily, one of my supporters, a friend of mine, who is a dice maker. Let's set him down for a minute. So she's a dice maker. She makes hand cast resin dice. That's not the right one. I knew it as soon as I grabbed it that wasn't the right one. So I'll show you guys this fun little dice vault that I have here. This is a dice vault. So he's pretty cool. From Fate's End. Fate's End has a is on Patreon in my mini factory. Do some really cool STL models. So I actually did, this guy, I actually painted it. So I did, it's like a dark kind of silvery, and then I added some silver highlights to it. So it looks cool. So Emily, if she's out there. Oh gosh, I can't get it. There we go. Emily made these dice. So you can check out her two crazy casters. I shared these in a video a while back. Actually, my I think it was my D&D gifts, Christmas gifts video that I did in November or December, whenever I did that. I don't remember. But these are really, really beautiful. I love these so much. The color is so cool. It's very hard. I keep trying to go the wrong way to get under the camera. But the color is really cool. That deep kind of a deep purple. It actually looks brighter here in your view than it actually is, but the nice thing about that is you can see all these like glitter on the inside and just neat colors. It's really cool. She does a great job. Two crazy casters. She does awesome resin cast dice, and she will do custom dice for you. All right, let's Displacer Beast. You know, I need to take a close look and see if there's any place that I missed. And this is why it's difficult painting something black that you primed with black. So I'm not sure if I got underneath there or not. I actually think I missed part of. Got a paint bowl in there. I think I missed part of this guy up here. So. Okay. Now I want you guys to know too, I am not by any means an expert painter. By any means. I enjoy doing it. I think I'm pretty good at it. I'm not great at it, but it's a lot of fun. So funny story. Since we're just hanging out and chatting, it's about 7:30 now. I think I'm gonna go try to hit those eyes again. That's how I got into this. I used to be into, that's black. I just got black paint on my brush instead of white. I used to do model railroading, and I actually still have my model railroad, my train table. Unfortunately, it's in my garage because I don't have anywhere to put it. I used to keep it in this room, but my youngest daughter started playing drums, and so we don't have a lot of space in our home. So right across from me, right over there, is her drum set, and that's where my train table used to be, but now it's in the garage. And I haven't worked on it in ages, but I've always been fascinated with miniature stuff, right? Like as a kid, I loved trains. I loved model trains specifically. But I remember too, when I was a kid, I live in Texas now. I think I mentioned that earlier. But when I was a kid, I did not. But my dad did, and I would come out to Texas and visit my dad in the summer. And yeah, one summer we went to the Alamo, which, hey, you know, that's like a thing to do if you're in Texas. Remember the Alamo. I need some water. Okay. But we went to the Alamo, and they still have it. I mean, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but this big miniature display of the battle, and like, you know, all these little soldiers painted in all their different colors, and you know, the battlefield and the Alamo there, and like the tufts of cotton that they used for smoke from all the guns, and I just thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. But I've always been fascinated with that kind of stuff, and so doing model railroading, you know, was kind of the expression of that fascination for me. But then when I started as an adult to get back into playing D&D, I was like, it's funny. One of the first things I wanted to do was get into miniatures, and I bought a 3D printer. I bought a few minis, but then I bought a 3D printer, because I knew you could print your own minis, right? And so I bought a 3D printer, printed minis, started painting. But going into it, like as a kid, like as a teenager, when I was originally when I played D&D as a teenager, I I saw people do this kind of stuff, and even when I got older, like I saw people do this kind of stuff, and I'm like, there's no way I can do that. Not that I didn't think I was physically capable or anything like that. I wasn't even thinking about the artistic aspect of it, or the the actual just skills necessary to do it. I was more thinking about the patience needed and just working with these tiny little things. And I just was like, there's no way on earth I could ever do that, because I wouldn't have the patience to focus on it. But in all honesty, I had the same approach to my fascination with model railroading when I decided to get into it. It's gonna require a lot of patience, and I'm not a patient person, and I need to be. I want to be. So, and that's the truth, man. I want to be a bit more patient, so I'm gonna try this thing that's gonna require me to be patient. And I kind of had the same approach going into minis. It's like, because if you're not patient, like you're never gonna finish one, because you're gonna make a mistake, and then you're gonna be done. Because it is actually really difficult. You can fix mistakes anytime you make a mistake on a mini. Shoot. Okay. Anytime you make a mistake on a mini, you can fix it. I think those look all right. Okay. And I think I got all the black. And I'm really glad that I painted him instead of just leaving the primer, because he's got a little more sheen there for sure. And that's kind of what I thought would happen. It's not, there's not a lot of sheen to this paint, but it's definitely got more than the primer did. So, hey, this week, and it's actually already up for members, we've got the latest episode of Short Rest Studios is actually out already. Yeah, I said that. It went out this morning for members. It's kind of my D&D New Year's resolutions. And when I say D&D, I'm talking about any TTRPG. Because I love to try. If you guys have been watching me any period of time, I love to try different kinds of games. So all different kinds of systems. I'm really digging. And I haven't had a chance to play all of them, but I'm really digging Shadow Dark right now. I just finished reading through the book, and I've actually got some more videos lined up, kind of relating, talking about Shadow Dark, but sometimes in the context of other games as well. But Shadow Dark, DCC, I love Dungeon Crawl Classics. I'm really digging Dragonbane. I've been reading through. I had the starter set, and I read through the starter set a while back. Still haven't had a chance to actually play it. I may consider doing a Dragonbane one shot for a live stream, because one of the things I'm doing this year is doing some more live play, actual play stuff. So. And in fact, I want to go ahead and push this out there now, but in March, we will be running a DCC one-shot, Dungeon Crawl Classics one-shot, and I will be playing in that game. I will not be running it, but myself Anto from Icarus Games, Ryan Doyle from the Verdigris Table, and oh my goodness, oh, Sean from Delver. Yes, yeah, friends of mine in the YouTube, the dungeon tuber space, as we call it. Um, they're going to be playing the game with me, and the game will be run. This DCC one shot will be run by Bob Worldbuilder, um, which I'm really excited about. Bob is such a cool guy, such a nice guy. Like, I mean, you know, he's one of the people that I look up to in the space, in this space, and has been really kind and welcoming to me. And this is, we looked at doing some kind of collaboration in the past, but um, it just didn't really work out. And so, and that's okay. Um, but he was gracious enough to, uh, when I invited him to agree to run this DCC one shot for us, we're gonna be. So here's the thing. So I've done a couple of actual plays and I live streamed them. We actually live streamed them while we were playing, and I've decided we're doing pre-recorded the next time. So you will get an actual play video of this DCC one shot with Bob Worldbuilder, but it will not technically be live. But I am going to stream it so that we can have live chat, and I will be on the chat with everyone to take comments and respond while the game's going on. But the game itself will be pre-recorded. I just learned the hard way, and people told me, and I believed them, but I was like, no, I want to try it. But I learned the hard way that there's just too much stress involved. There are too many things that you have to keep track of. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and paint some more black on his mouth again, and then of course I'm gonna paint his teeth white. But I gotta give that a chance to dry because I want to get that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do the inside of his ears too. But I'm gonna thin that out a bit. Get rid of some of that. And just kind of put some red down the deep part of his ear. Okay. I don't know if you can even tell that I did that, but I did. And you'll be able to see it from, you can see it in person. So I'm filming this with my iPhone this evening, simply because I have this whole setup. I should give you guys a tour of the actual setup sometime. It's pretty, yeah, tight. But I have a desk here, and my camera is on a mount that's attached to my desk, and my main light is on top of that. And I'm not using that light right now. I've actually got a big light that I'm using. I'm just painting the inside of his mouth now. I've actually got a big light that I'm using for this because the other light doesn't shine directly onto the table, so, or onto the desk. So let's see here. So if you guys don't know this is the trick for making sure you've got the right amount of paint on your brush to do fine lines. And I do not. I don't have enough. Because the last thing you want to do when you're trying to do a fine line is, oh, that's pretty good, is put that brush in there and then it just puts paint everywhere, right? So what I'm going to do, I just decided I want to add a little bit more red here, but he's got these ridges inside his ear. And I want to hit those. I went a little too far with it, but I got it on the line I wanted, so I can always cover up the last part with the black. So, hope you guys can hear me okay. I tend to get quiet when I'm actually doing something. All right, that looks I think that looks all right. Okay. So, mouth looks pretty good. Might actually get, make me a little pink here. Just to add a little highlighting to his tongue. I'll be honest, painting the mouth is usually one of my favorite parts of doing a monster like this, because you can make it look all bloody and gross. So we got about 20 minutes left to go. That's 17 minutes left to go. Okay, I'm gonna hit this. I'm gonna cover up that extra red that I got in there. Those look good. Okay. So I think go ahead and get out some purple here. I'm gonna get the big brush again. I'm gonna get the big brush again here. Get a little bit of this purple in and out. I always add a little bit of water to thin it out. I don't like to thin it out too much, but I want to thin it out some. Because I want this purple to get the spikes, but I also want to make sure that it gets down in there. And then I'm gonna hit the tops of the spikes with something brighter. I'll probably mix the purple with some white. And I also probably will do that around the edges a bit, just to give that effect of a glow. I need to give this a second to dry. And part of the reason I wanted to do this one tonight is because honestly it's a little bit easier model to paint. He's looking pretty cool so far. I'm going to move on from that right now. Give that a chance to dry. I'm going to get some of this bone white, which is one of my favorite paint colors, oddly. I actually love using it for teeth and claws. When you want them to be white, but you don't want it to be too much. And I go back and forth about this because, like, yes, I do recognize cats have black claws typically, or gray. But at the same time, I really want them to stand out, right? And I feel like when I've painted them like that, that they just don't stand out very well. And I will go back and probably should have painted these first too. I think I started to say what my philosophy on that was earlier, and then I kind of trailed off. But I typically will do the eyes first, and then do whatever the main color of the model is. So, and that's what I did today. I did black. I did the white in the eyes, and then I did black. And then I go back and paint in all the details. In this case, I probably should have done these first, just because I'm going to have to go back and paint more black on top of them to cover up where I went too far. And that's okay. I mean, that's okay. You know, to me, that's kind of part of the deal. That's just part of making it putting the finishing touches on, tweaking things and getting them right. And that's probably why part of why it takes me so long to paint these, because that's probably a long, difficult way to do it. But I don't mind it. And I probably won't finish this tonight, but I will post some pictures of the finished product. Still drying. A lot of times with teeth on minis, depending on how prominent they are, I will just dry brush, basically. His are actually pretty easy to hit, so. And you see, look at that, that adds so much. Just hitting that little bit of white detail in there, or bone white anyway. And the other thing that I discovered about painting teeth like this is that it doesn't always have to be very, like, perfect to look good. And well, again, I'll go back and kind of polish that up. I can't tell if that's... I don't think so, but... We got 7 minutes, guys. If there's anybody out there. I'm so lonesome I could die. Drink out of the right water. So that's good. A little bit of this black. See if I can polish this up right here. One of the things that I might consider doing is hitting the teeth with a brown wash, because then that will bring out some of the detail . And it's more, it works better than trying to use a black wash or trying to paint in the detail by hand. He's looking all right. We still got some work to do on him, but most of these claws, there's just a couple of spots where I just went too far back. Yeah, this foot I kind of get sloppy. Just got a few more minutes left. Next time I think I'm going to do some background music just for the heck of it. Because it's pretty quiet in here. And I will post some pictures of the completed Displacer Beast when I'm done with him. He's looking good so far though. Add some more detail and kind of bring him to life a little more and give him those highlights on his body to accentuate the musculature, accentuate the detail of the model. And that's when it's really going to start to shine. So again, next week. No, not next week. Today, for members, the next episode of Short Rest Studios is available. You just check the members posts on YouTube or the Patreon. I published a post to Patreon this morning with that latest video, and next week the same thing will happen. Video's already in the can, ready to go. So this week's is my D&D New Year's resolutions, just some DM advice from my own choices for the year, goals for the year as a GM. And then next week's is actually pretty cool. It's about a nice hack for creating quick random dungeon maps. So please check those out. And if you're out there, thanks for hanging with me for a while. If you're seeing this after the fact, I appreciate it. Come hang out with us live next time. So that I'm going to call it. It is 7:59 p.m. Central Time. Taking a drink out of the correct water glass. I've never drunk out of the wrong glass, guys, but I have accidentally rinsed my brush in my coffee cup before. So, yeah. And then I took a drink out of it. This is what happened. I rinsed the brush in the coffee cup, took a drink out of the coffee a moment later, and I was like, oh, I just rinsed my brush in this. And then I thought, oh, well. And I drank the rest of my coffee. All right. Well, thanks, guys. See you next month.